The topic of today's video is 5 very likely changes to Social Security. Let's get started and go over all the specifics. As far as I can tell, I do get asked this issue rather frequently by folks who are those who have not yet filed, but will receive checks from Social Security in the near future, or those who are currently beneficiaries receiving those ongoing monthly checks. And the questions usually start with something like, "I've heard that Social Security is going to be altering. Could you please explain these changes and how they will affect me and my monthly benefit?" These are excellent points, and they are precisely what I want to emphasize and discuss in this video, since I believe that we all understand Social. Since Security will be changing in the not-too-distant future, you undoubtedly want to know how this will affect your monthly benefit, and ultimately, how it will affect your finances and way of life. These are excellent questions, and the focus. Let's discuss the specifics of this video, but before we do, I would really appreciate it if you could do me a tremendous favor and subscribe to the channel by clicking the icon directly below the video. Feel free to do so. I am always available to you. I keep an eye on the news, conduct research, advocate on your behalf, and respond to inquiries like to this one in these videos. I want to do everything in my power to help you right now. Incredibly difficult financial circumstances for those on poor or fixed incomes. There are several programs available at the moment that you may utilize, and as I've stated numerous times in previous videos, I want to support you. Optimize your monthly income, your lifetime income, and your annual income from Social Security. Additionally, make the finest use of all of your money. That is my commitment, and I genuinely want to assist you financially right now. Many people are struggling. It's a very depressing situation. From the comments and tales below, I can see that everything is difficult right now. I want to help as much as I can, so once more, thank you so much. I sincerely appreciate your support and thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe below. There's also a share option, so feel free to spread the word about this video to your friends on social media once again. Since I've already stated it once and will repeat it quickly, let's focus on the specifics of this. I really appreciate everything. So let's go over the details. These are some very good questions. Social Security is about to undergo a transformation. If it stays the same, things will get worse. We want Social Security to change because, in the worst-case scenario, we are aware that according to the most current reports, payouts will be reduced by roughly 23 to 25% over the course of about 9 years, give or take a little bit. So, my argument is that if Social Security isn't changed, that's what the program will look like in the future. We definitely want changes to occur, even though they can be really frightening in this case. In fact, no change makes things worse. That's just my opinion. Now, I realize that I've seen comments below quite a few times. In previous videos, I've mentioned that we want Social Security to change. People have responded saying things like, "Dude, you're nuts. We don't want Social Security to change." But I've always countered that if we don't, payments will be reduced between 23 and 25%. So yes, we do want those changes to take effect. Otherwise, beneficiaries will once more experience unpleasantness. By the way, I'm not here to frighten people. That is not my goal. I don't get excited about that. That's what they're all talking about. And even the Board of Trustees, in their annual report, comes out and reveals that same information. So let me run through it since I don't want to sit here and scare folks. Although these 5 extremely plausible options haven't been put into practice yet, in my honest opinion, based on my study and everything I know about what's out there, they are nonetheless highly probable. Okay, let me reiterate that. As it stands, in my honest opinion, these are the most likely changes we will likely see to Social Security. Whether we see them all, perhaps some of them, or maybe just 1 or 2 of them, it's probably okay that I'm not stating that all of these will change, but that in my honest opinion, based on the research, these are the most likely changes to come to Social Security. All right, let me go over each of these in depth before I hit. Taking each of these individually, let me explain what they actually mean. At this point, most of them are self-explanatory, but let me go over them quickly. First, I firmly believe that raising the floor retirement age will occur, though I'm not sure how. Much thanks for the query. As of right now, the maximum retirement age for Jay is 67 years old. That's okay as long as it stays that way. However, there are currently suggestions to raise the age to 68, 69, okay, so they're talking about all these different ages. My guess is that the complete retirement age will be raised to either 69 or 70. That's just my guess, and I really believe this will happen within the next few years. If you were born after January 19, 1960, this will not affect you if you are already getting benefits, but the further out in time that you were born, the more of an impact it may have on you. I have additional videos on the channel discussing this topic. After 1960, all right, so if that makes sense, then essentially, the younger you are, the more of an influence this will have on you. That's just, point number 1 there. Okay, that's number 1, raising the full retirement age. And I do think it will have, right? That'll definitely be occurring, okay? That's one thing I do think will, at some point probably in the next few years, happen with 100% high certainty. However, eventually, all right, so that's number 1. Next, increasing taxes on individuals with greater incomes. As of right now, the maximum amount of income that Social Security levies is $168,600. I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if they increase this cap. Now, here's the thing. They do raise this cap annually in accordance with inflation. Okay, so this does increase annually, but at some point, I wouldn't be stunned if they raised this cap significantly, as opposed to the meager 5 or 6%. Mentions that they've been raising this every year. So I wouldn't be astonished if they raised it by $100,000, $150, $200, or even $400,000 at some point. If there was a significant jump at some point, though, that's mostly going to affect those with higher incomes as well. So that brings us to number 2, raising taxes on those with higher incomes. Lastly, number 3, raising taxes on everyone. However, this is distinct from point number 2. So allow me to explain about payroll taxes and Social Security taxes first. Are paid 6.2% by the employer and 6.2% by the employee, for a total of 12.4% that is deducted from earnings and divided evenly between the two parties. I wouldn't be surprised if this amount increased by a small amount. Percentage points, I wouldn't be surprised if they increased it by 1 whole percentage point, or 2 or 3, or anything similar. I wouldn't be surprised if this 12.4% was increased to 13.4%, 14.4%, or 15%, or something similar, and then split down the middle. Once more, the current arrangement is for the employee to pay half and the employer to pay the other half. Unless you work for yourself, in which case you have the luxury of paying the entire amount. However, you already know what I mean. I wouldn't be stunned if they raised taxes on everyone once again. This would mean that taxes would be increased on everybody who makes an earned income, regardless of whether they work for themselves or receive a W-2 where they are employed outside the home. Job 9 to 5 or something similar is where this would also take impact, because it would result in a significant amount of more revenue. Okay, so raising taxes on those with higher incomes would also result in revenue. But let's be honest here. While some people do make more than the current ceiling of $168,600 as of the year 2024, I apologize, not many people do. Don't get me wrong, there are some people who make more than that, but the proportion of people that earn more than that, it's very little when compared to raising taxes to the 12.4% overall. If they did that, they would make a lot more money because everyone would be taxed rather than just a small portion of the population. That brings us to issue number 4, which is benefit capping. A lot of MPs have discussed this topic, and there are currently a number of ideas available to curb benefits. As a result, benefits increase annually. Of the koch, even the recipients with the greatest incomes, who currently receive well over $4,000 per month, the maximum benefit available at this time is $4,800. I wouldn't be the slightest bit surprised if this were to eventually cap off, okay? Put another way, legislators decide that enough is enough and draw a line here. The greatest advantage moving ahead will be X, and I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. They then sort of draw a mark in the sand and say, enough is enough, We don't need to keep raising benefits for the wealthiest people. Let's just put a ceiling on these benefits. If you think about it that way, let's just declare that benefits should increase by 1%. Coming in on the beneficiaries with the highest incomes because of the COLA. Yes, the beneficiaries with the lowest incomes. For instance, a person receiving, say, $600 a month would receive a $6 monthly raise on a 1% rate, right? However, someone receive $4,800, which would be an additional $48 per month.